What's up, y'all? It's Kymmy Coco, and you are here at your favorite podcast, Connecting the Dots. And we are here this week, another full week of things going on. And I really just want to start off with an update to things, just kind of get some talking around what's going on with something that's affecting all of us still, COVID. So this week, the CDC said that you have to wear a mask on all public transportation. I don't know who is going anywhere on public transportation without a mask still. But for the ones who needed the CDC to tell you so, they've done that, okay? Yeah, so put your mask on. They're also saying that your mask may not be the best mask. I've said that several times on previous episodes. And like I always say about this time, if you haven't, please go listen to some of our previous episodes. And we can, talk about some of the things that we covered. We might need to catch up on some things. But, we need to know what you guys want to talk about, too. Because this is your show. We're just here to talk about what everybody else is going through, life, like us. So they're saying your mask. So if you have a cloth mask, and somebody asked me once, do you always wear two masks? No, I wear one for me and one for you. Because you don't wear one, and if yours might not be good enough. That's why you see me sometimes and I have two masks on. Also, around the time of the election, oh, it looks nice in here. I didn't even notice the chandelier in the cabinets. Oh, wow. Shout out to Live Hip Hop Daily Studio. The update is the bomb. This space is really nice, y'all, and we enjoy it, and it's really, really, really cool. Shout out to Live Hip Hop Daily. Check out those shows, too. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. I wear one mask, and when, during the election, I wore my Vote War Not mask, because I thought that was cute, and I got a lot of compliments. I got a couple of Karens chase me down for wearing that mask, but hey, I dealt with it. It wasn't too bad. They were telling me how much they, Warnock was, what was he? The radical liberal?
Yeah.
Okay,
radical,
right. Okay.
Raphael Warnock.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was not what happened. We see who the radicals are now.
Yeah, clearly.
And who so that was for nothing. That whole narrative was a lie, but we knew that. Speaking of which, another crazy thing that's going on is as well as we've done Georgia in our election and getting Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff elected, we also have a bunch of foolishness going on in Georgia. The foolishness by the name of Marjorie, is that her name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crazy Marjorie.
Oh, yeah. She's
from District
crazy.
14, I think it is.
She is acting nuts. She turning the flame up right now.
If you don't know who that is, good. I unfortunately know who she is because her district is a part of her district is in Smyrna. Did you know that?
I did not, but I knew it was close. So,
if I'm not mistaken, I looked at a map, and we have so much gerrymandering going on in Georgia. It's like the counties and the districts and it's hard to figure out. But I looked at the map, and I think if it's like you said, if it's not Smyrna, it's close. But it's close enough where she ran unopposed. So don't think that I know that there's some crazy people out that way, but she ran unopposed in her election. So she's just out here with all this foolishness, and they're trying to get her expelled. But they're saying how hard that is to do because you kind of need a majority of the House representatives to want that.
Her own people are saying that.
Yeah, because they're not saying anything because they
they
don't like cancel culture. I mean, they call that a cancel culture. I call it accountability.
Yeah. So
I don't know who can go to their job. Well, we do know who can go to their job and not do a good job and still, we know what that's about. But
you already know what it is.
That's the next thing that we got to get going on in Georgia. So March for Our Lives. Remember the kids that were involved in that school shooting? They started a group, March for Our Lives, and they're really they're a gun. I don't want to say they don't want people to have guns, but they're a gun control advocacy group of young people. Mm-hmm. They went to her office and they boycotted in front of, they protested in front of her office the other day.
And she got with them too.
She did?
Oh yeah, you didn't see her.
Oh no, they said her office was closed when they got there. That no one was there.
Before,
they acted like her office was
some
closed.
footage of her kind of harassing the Parkland kids. I guess they were,
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah, and it's definitely footage of her like standing outside her office.
Oh yeah, running after the front person, the one that was there that survived it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's crazy.
And they said she's been threatening other members of,
Here locally in Atlanta, there's some mess going on. So, Fannie Willis requested another prosecutor handle the Rayshard Brooks case. Everyone remembers the Rayshard Brooks case, the one down on Pryor Street.
The Wendy's.
And the Wendy's was burned down. And then after that, the neighborhood guys came up armed, and they were like, we're sick of y'all coming to this neighborhood to treat us like we're at a zoo, and they didn't want y'all there, so they armed themselves, which they have every right to do. Yeah. But in the meantime, there was some knuckleheads out there, and people started shooting, and the young girl was killed. A lot happened down there, and it was tragic. I still don't think I don't know if they have all the right people. That there was someone that was arrested for that. Okay. But anyway, Fannie Willis, she doesn't want to take up that case. She wants to pass it over to the state DA. And that has some people up in arms. Fannie Willis requested another prosecutor to oversee the Rayshard Brooks murder case, citing behavior of former DA Paul Howard's behavior, citing his methodology, attaining the arrest warrants was politically motivated. Willis sent a letter to the Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr notifying him of her wishes. But there is a case that Fannie Willis is interested in taking up, and that is the Trump phone call to Brett Roethlisberger's office, and she wants to investigate that. So people are saying, elections matter. If you really thought that Paul Howard, who started the case, should have finished it and did what he was going to do, you should have voted.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I think
you're more familiar with this than I am because
it's hard.
It's hard because Paul Howard did what he needed to do. People were saying he only did that, and when they say politically motivated, it's because at the time there was so many Black Lives Matter protests and just protests in general going on around the country, and people are saying, well, the only reason why he did work so quickly and firing the cops and prosecuting them and bringing them up on charges is because he was afraid that Atlanta was just going to turn up again. I mean, that was the will of the people, right? The people wanted the cop to be. We all saw the video. I mean, he wasn't in any danger, so he shot him in the back. Yeah. He did what he felt he needed to do.
I think it's a tough one, especially like if you're here in Atlanta and you're familiar with the local politics.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. Yeah.
And I will say Paul Howard put himself in a tough position by not doing his job as he should have earlier on.
He waited until.
But this goes back to, once again, people paying attention to politics. Paul Howard started doing what he needs to do during election season. He started making promises, and a lot of stuff happened
to the families.
And things like that. But Paul Howard is no saint by far. But once again, I think people can't be surprised that Fannie Willis is sending this case on and she doesn't want to touch it. Like, once again, follow the money. Like, the cops' lawyers donating money to her campaign. And that's just facts. That's not, what I'm saying.
So during her campaign, they endorsed her. So it was no secret that people were saying, well, of course, any decision she makes would be benefiting the police officers.
Exactly.
Got it.
So
right.
It's kind of like one of those things where, like, I'm not surprised. And like, I've seen a lot of activists who fight for those families endorse Fannie Willis in the same sense. So, like, once again, it shows, like, you have to pay attention. Like, your words can't contradict your actions. So people notice that. And like, once again, just a neutral party is kind of like, we got what we asked for. Like, the people elected her, and so now they're having to deal with the actions of what she does.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on it. Like, I don't know. I don't know because I've seen people that I know endorse both people. And I know that it's because some of the families didn't get necessarily the action that they needed, and I would be the same way.
Yeah.
So I just, it's hard to say, but that's what's going on. Also, the Atlanta mayoral race, that's going to be huge because Keisha Lance Bottoms is wildly popular in Atlanta. Oh, yeah. But there's someone that announced that she would be running against her in the election. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. I think that she was a part of the city council. Felicia Moore. Mm-hmm. She, let's see. Yeah, city council president Felicia Moore. Mm-hmm. She's going to run against Keisha Lance Bottoms. That's going to be a crazy race.
Interesting. Very.
Yeah. She has a strong position ahead. All the people that are deep into politics and all the people that political experts that have been interviewed have said that this is like crazy. Nobody thinks that she can be beat. Mm-hmm. Even former Mayor Andrew Young, whom I adore, he said that he doesn't think that anybody's going to be, this person isn't going to be able to beat Keisha. Mm-hmm. So pay attention to that race.
Yeah. And you know how Atlanta is. Like the last election was 700 votes that determined who was mayor?
Yeah, and
out of a city of millions.
Atlanta is very heavily influenced by
hip-hop culture. Let's say it.
Atlanta is very heavily influenced by hip-hop culture. And there are some people that are involved in the Keisha Lance Bottoms administration that are hip-hop artists. Yeah. And when you are trying to win a mayoral race, you're going to go for the jugular. You're going to start with it's like chess, right? Everybody say it's a chess game. You just start chipping down the credibility of everybody involved. You start from whoever, and you go from there, and you go from there, and you go from there, and you go from there. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. This is what we mean by we need educated voters. I want everybody to vote. Get your feet wet. But like we started seeing this week too, we're going to talk about that next, about, the stock market. People are starting to get involved in the stock market. Okay, people are still starting to get involved in politics. Okay, that's the start. Go ahead and vote. But then after you vote, hold them accountable. Make sure you see what's what, who's who. Like you said, follow the money. Yeah. Who was contributing to this campaign? Whose interest will this person serve? That's what we all need to do. Moving on. But, like I said, pay attention because, these people look for entertainers and celebrities and athletes to join their camp, to get the word out, to influence people. That's what you are. You're an influencer.
I always tell people it's a reason that T.I. is on TV telling people to chill out instead of the police chief.
And Killer Mike, who's remained unscathed through this whole thing. He's remained unscathed through this whole thing. But the elections are coming up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. We'll see. And we'll be here to talk about it because I'm looking. I'm looking.
I know you watching.
I'm watching. Because guess who else is up for re-election next year?
Who is that?
BK, Brian Kemp.
Ah, that is right. I think all eyes are once again on Georgia for that.
We are always going to be, because we are a swing state now.
Yeah. Officially.
So everybody's going to come here. Earn your vote. And, everybody says your vote doesn't count. And we're always like, oh, yes, it does. And we point out all these elections. Now that we all are educated on that part, now we could go to the next level. Guess what? Some people's votes do count more than others. If you are in a swing state, they're going to come for you. Whatever you guys need in that state, that's like Iowa. All those states that are like really important, and then you see now what state has the most electoral votes. Those are more, to me, those votes, the states that have the most electoral votes are the more important, really. Anyway, so this week we found a whole bunch of people made money. Did you guys make any money? Do you hold Netflix or AMC or any of the stocks that were manipulated in the market?
I don't.
I have 3 stocks, but it wasn't any of those. So
So guess what?
All good.
I bought my daughter GameStop stock for Christmas.
Nice.
Yep.
Bet she smiled from ear to ear.
I mean, she was like, I did it because I wanted her to just read up. If you're invested in it, you're going to see what's going on, right? What does this mean? How much money do I have? And she'll keep up with it because my daughter speaks money.
Yeah.
That's the only language she understands.
Good language to know.
So I'm telling her, this is worth some money. So, now she's going to check it. So I told her, and this is, I'm really kind of, it's good she makes money. She made money. I told her to sell it, of course. But it's good that she made money off of it, but it's not a good example of your first stock ownership. What happened with that, and I don't know if she quite understands it because it's blowing my fucking mind, trust me. Like, this one stock I bought for Christmas, like, out of all the stocks, like, all of us, this one... You know what I'm saying? And I don't think she understands the gravity of how ironic that is. And I think she thinks that that's how it works when you buy some. You know what I'm saying? So I said, buy another one. Use that money, buy up, and then you'll see. This doesn't happen all the time. You really got lucky. You need to talk to me nice, basically, is what I'm saying.
I think you shouldn't view it like that, though, because I won't say I'm a stock market guru, but I understand, what's going on. I get stocks and I hold some, I sell some, and I learned about options last year, and I started kind of dabbling in it. And I actually, I'm one of the people that's kind of pissed because like I do have a Robinhood account, and like I was trying to get in on AMC and all of that,
and they restricted you guys.
They restricted me.
So
and so it just really goes to show that like
So as an institutional investor, your trades go first, right? Yeah. And then you have the regular everyday, us, and we buy a couple stock here and there, and we go through a brokerage firm. So they're doing it for us. So when you go through Robinhood, their traders are. So you kind of have a.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
So I saw that they opened up a class action suit against Robinhood.
Yeah.
Now me as a Robinhood user, would I benefit from that?
Definitely.
Even though, because it's like, I didn't have the AMC stock or nothing like that, but I was wondering if, just because I'm on that platform.
You could benefit from it if the class action lawsuit, I think the class action lawsuit, and I could be wrong because I didn't really read much because I don't use Robinhood, but I read, usually in cases like that, it's for the people that are going to get money off of it are people that tried to make a trade or wanted to make a trade or could have made a trade, and they would have made money. Mm-hmm. And because you stopped me from making money, I'm suing you. It could benefit you in a way where going forward, they change the rules where they won't do that anymore.
And that's the point.
And that's the point of what they're doing. Now, when you have like Robinhood, and you Cash App lets you buy stock now and all that, you kind of like, you're like the last in line, so you don't even know really, like if you get in that price, you might not. Your chances are different; they're lower. It's kind of like buying a plane ticket. You go through Expedia instead of going through. You know what I mean? And then they get a piece of the money for doing it for you.
Definitely.
And
they get a fee, like if you trade,
a trading
certain
fee,
percentage or something like that.
So just what happened basically was, a whole bunch of people on Reddit got together and they said there's a list of stocks that companies short the most. Yeah. I mean, the SEC is the person who regulates the stock market, right? That's who, like, the IRS is for taxes. They're the government oversight of the stock market, right? And they say you have to, if you're a public company, all your records are public, all your information is public. So people, analysts and data professionals, they put stuff together based on the public information. And there's a group of people that put together a list of companies and stock that people are shorting.
Yeah. And for you all that don't know what shorting is basically betting that a company will lose money over time.
Right.
It's kind of like gambling in a short
The whole thing is gambling.
Yeah.
The whole stock market is gambling.
But most people don't know you can make money when companies lose.
You can make money you're betting basically that the company is going to lose money. So you're borrowing. say like 4 shares. So now you have 4 shares, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I need my 4 shares back. Okay, well now the price is lower, so I made money.
Mm-hmm. So I can give you back your
so now
stock,
I can give you
keep the money that I made
the different of the difference.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies were doing that too. Some
hedge
funds were doing that to some stocks, and they got a hold of it, the list. They pick which ones. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, they're shorting these. Well, let's buy them. Yeah. So the price goes up because it's all about supply and demand.
Right.
So if you buy all those shares, the price is going to go up. Now all those hedge fund investors, mm-hmm. they're like, what's going on? Nobody was buying this stock. Now the price is going up. And so they got screwed. So it's kind of like Robin Hood. And that's why all the memes, like Trading Places memes, were going around. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, the Main Street guy like fucked over the Wall Street guys.
Yeah.
And they said that was the biggest redistribution of wealth in like decades.
Yeah. And it's funny because it shows you that there are no, like, what was done was completely legal. Like, these hedge funds, they take billions of dollars and they bet against companies.
Yes.
They call them market makers. Like, they can buy a bunch of shares because they have so much money, and, like, it makes small people like me and you sell our shares because we see the price going up.
Right.
But the only thing they're doing is buying shares from you and controlling the market. And so the people from Reddit basically formed their own Megatron of small-time traders, and
on this day, we're going to do this.
So instead of the hedge fund making money, they're losing money because the hedge fund that they shut down was, I think it was worth $13.1 billion, and they lost $70 billion on that because once again, those stocks that you bet against, you have to give back to whoever you got them from.
And you can, and people are like, well, isn't that how the stock market works anyway? Like, that's just how it goes. But it is. But they're complaining about is now the wrong people are manipulating the market. Donald Trump was doing it all last year on Twitter, like, oh, Ford and, this and that, and I'm going to give these people a government contract. And he was manipulating the market on Twitter all last year.
And that's what makes it such a big FU to, Wall Street, because it's kind of like there are no rules for these huge hedge funds to do this whenever they want to, and then people catch on and learn the knowledge that we've been telling them. Like, why don't poor people invest their money? Well, they just did, and you
now they
app, you kept them from investing. And it turns out that Robinhood had their foot in bed with the hedge fund company to get a percentage of.
What?
A lot of people don't know that, and that's the reason that Congress is now about to look into it, because once again, follow the paper trail.
Wow. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
See what I'm saying?
Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Facts.
None whatsoever. But
that's why when you buy a stock, it is so time consuming. Mm-hmm. Especially, if you have a portfolio, and that's why people pay, or they'll buy mutual funds and they have fund managers, mm-hmm. and they pay somebody to do that for them.
Right.
It's not, everybody like, oh, I bought stock. Like, it's not like, you're some like, okay, calm down, because pay attention. It's not, it's a piece of property. And, oh, by the way, if you sold it, you're going to have to pay taxes on it.
Capital gains. Look it up, people.
And it's not low. The capital gains tax rate, is it low? That's one of the taxes that when people are arguing about taxes, they're not talking about your income tax rate. You see that they're talking about when the politicians talk about taxes, your taxes are gonna go up. They're talking about capital gains taxes. Yeah. More than likely.
That's the one everybody's scared of right there. Putting their money in offshore accounts, hiding.
Man, right.
Bitcoin. Well, I mean, you still probably get taxed on. Well, you are gonna get taxed, but
I don't know because Bitcoin is not regulated at all. So I don't.
Well, I mean,
I think that's why they want to regulate Bitcoin.
It's not regulated if you trade in Bitcoin, but if I want to cash it out, I'm gonna have to pay taxes on it.
I don't think. Do you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you gotta pay taxes.
I don't know. I mean, I don't.
That's the thing about crypto right now. Anyway, like it's kind of like I akin it to gold mining back in the day, like the gold rush. Mm-hmm. It's so new that it's not a lot of regulations. Like people, like once again, going back to Mark Zuckerberg, like Congress didn't even know how to use Facebook in their questions.
Yeah, that was amazing to me.
Yeah, so it's one of those things.
But that's why I'm like, yo, y'all got to get some younger people up there.
But that's why I tell younger people, I was like, take advantage of like being ahead of the curve, like, you know, believe in this new technology, and they don't realize they're controlling the way with stuff like cryptocurrency, and that's why, like, once again, when people see you making money, Uncle Sam,
they want a piece of it.
They're gonna want that piece, so they're quick to, okay, how can we regulate this? What can we do? And now we're here.
So, the moral of the story is, investing, you got to keep on top of it. And if you sell it, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. I want to give a shout out, or I don't even want to say shout out. I want to say, give my respects and my condolences to the families of the teachers in Cobb County who died of COVID-19. There have been 3 teachers in Cobb County School District that have died from COVID-19. Those teachers, God bless you. I'm with you in spirit when I see you out there protesting because you don't feel safe to go back to school. I am 100% behind you guys, and I don't think that you should be having to go back to school if you don't want to, because you don't want to risk your life. I hope that one day people understand how severe some people are getting COVID and how quickly some people are dying, and how you really... It put us in a hard position, right? Because they call people essential workers. But now the vaccines are out. They don't want to vaccinate the essential workers, which brings me to another story I read in Eaton County.
Oh, yeah.
They said, we're vaccinating our teachers. We don't have time. I don't know who said. And maybe they're older people. Maybe they already got past their 1B stage. And now they're sitting here with vaccine. And they took it upon themselves to vaccinate teachers because the teachers wanted to be vaccinated. Yeah. Makes sense.
And I can't blame them.
Oh, so they're saying that they have to wait till July to get any more because they violated the rule.
I think that's ridiculous, man.
I feel like, at this point, it's like,
give it to who wants it.
The rules are out the door.
The rules are out the door.
Slap in the face, man.
Yeah,
the rules are out the door. Like, I don't know. This is a mess. Trump left people for dead.
Yeah.
He had no plan. He had no way. He just, Operation Warp Speed, let's get the vaccines made. Okay, how are they being distributed? How many did you order? How many do you need? None of that got done.
I think it just go back to his lack of leadership. Like, I think, because again, I wouldn't say he left people for dead because, like you said, he tried to rush the vaccines out. He just only prepared for step 1, though. And that might have been because he knew he was getting out. But it's like, man.
That means he left you for dead.
I mean, or just show that he wasn't. But we knew before that, like, he never was a good leader, and that's just all that's showing. Like, it just reinforces that, and it's like, man, we can't keep, harping on the fact that he did this. Like, he's gone now. He's gone. Like, he's gone. Like, all we doing now is complaining about what he didn't do, and he can't do nothing about it.
Well, I think he didn't intend to do anything about it, and I think that, like, once again, I agree with you. We have to focus on now, and I think that's what this administration.
Yeah, you know what he intended to do about it? He intended to try to manipulate you and say, "Oh, you didn't vote for me, New York. You're not getting any vaccines until after Georgia gets the. Oh, Georgia, you're. Oh, we wouldn't have ever got any vaccine in Georgia because he can't stand Brian Kemp because Brian Kemp wouldn't cheat. We would have been messed up. New York would have been messed up. California would have been messed up, and he would have continued to give it to Florida." Whoever governor was on his side. Yeah. And that's would have been the sad situation. So now, like you said, we have to start. So Johnson & Johnson, their vaccine is a 1-dose vaccine, and theirs is next up for approval.
That's what we need right there. We just need to get this.
It's a 1-step, but it's not as effective as the 2-step one. Let's just put that out there, allegedly. It's like, I keep every time. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how effective it is because every time I hear a story, it's a different percentage.
That's why I say it's all a crapshoot right now.
It's all a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But
and then we got new strains popping up.
Oh no, that's what's scaring me.
Yeah.
The new strains are what is scaring me.
They said, like, I was watching the news and like they said the one from Brazil that's wrecking shop is like it's here now. So. Once again, it's gonna be interesting to see what the next few months
people aren't paying attention.
they're not gonna have a choice. Like, and that's the sad thing. I think
Jesus, like, what is this? A lot of
people are waking up when it's too late. Like, they got it, or they, cause like I even have a dear friend. Like, luckily he's fine, he's back, but like he got COVID a few weeks ago, and like when I was talking to him, on the phone, he's like, man, he's like, I can't even lie. I was out here like, what I'm saying, doing my thing, reckless, and be like,
really
real now, And so I think.
But why doesn't everyone know someone like that by now?
Exactly.
That's what's weird to me.
But like, I think we also have like
the QAnon narrative floating around still. It creeped into the black community. We noticed it months ago.
Mm-hmm. And we always do, But it's one of those things to where it's sad that some people have to learn lessons the hard way to start changing or to wake up. And it's human nature, I guess.
And the way they did the essential workers was like so bogus because, they cut off unemployment for a little while as long as they could, but then they realized they had to start it back up again. If everybody would have just stopped and said no, because that shutdown that we had for that short period of time, right. It was supposed to get PPE everywhere. It was supposed to get stores set up for social distancing. It was supposed to get schools, whatever they needed to do, and it didn't. So if we have to shut down again, don't wonder why, because that first shutdown didn't get to what we needed it to get to.
Just unorganization, like once again, like
the lack of leadership.
Yeah, where the head goes, the body's gonna follow, and we ain't go anywhere.
Yeah, we got to start over, y'all. We're gonna have to start over. I should have injected this into when we were talking about the election here in Georgia, but now they want us to use 2 photo IDs. Yeah. The next time, the Republicans are pushing so that a bill seeks 2 copies of photo ID to vote absentee in Georgia. That's only for people that want to mail in their vote. And I think that they feel as though they made it too easy for people to vote. People voted. But I think now people are so energized that they'll be willing to wait online.
I think so too, and I think it's kind of like one of those things to where once again, like when things doesn't go a certain way, we start to see expectations change. Or I always tell people the conservative party is not the one for voter registration.
No.
When last time you seen the GOP around here doing voter registration?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So. They're gonna have to change their mindset over the next few years if they wanna, have a chance.
Georgia voters would be required to make copies of their photo ID and mail them to election officials twice before allowing to cast an absentee ballot. That's what the bill that was introduced Wednesday. The legislation, Senate Bill 29, would create a photo ID requirement for voting outside of polling places. The idea of mandating some form of photo ID has the support of powerful Republicans in Georgia, including Brian Kemp and Jeff Duncan and David Ralston. Under the legislation, Georgia voters will be required to submit a photocopy of their driver's license. Who's doing that? I mean, just open up more places then. Like, we're going to have to have an even trade-off.
It's funny. I always tell people, politics is politics for a reason. Like, none of this stuff is hard. Like, I feel like you should just be universal. If you're a citizen, you should be universally registered to vote. You shouldn't even have to. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a reason why they put stopgaps in. Like, it's a reason for all this. And once you start looking at the historical context of places like Georgia and Texas and Mississippi, and you start to realize why some of these rules are the way they are and why they are trying to make you have 5 IDs to vote. They did the same thing to our, to us back in the day. They tell you can vote, bring your ID, and they beat you across the head when you come to actually vote. And this is just another way of doing that without the club. So, America, same thing, different day, different version.
Just like during the Jim Crow era. They try to discourage black people from voting. Speaking of racist politics, a Confederate monument that was taken down in Decatur, they are going to replace it with a statue of John Lewis. That makes me happy.
That's in Decatur, right?
Yeah.
Downtown Decatur?
Yep.
Okay.
Outside the courthouse in Decatur. They took it down last year, and now they plan to erect a monument that honors John Lewis.
That's a great start, and I hope they don't start. I hope they don't stop there. I don't think people realize how many Confederate monuments and different things that there are. Well,
they're all over my neighborhood because we have those those street signs that say, "Hey, the Civil War trail. This is where the Civil War and the Civil War and the Civil War and the Civil War."
It's crazy. I went home to Mississippi. This was probably about 2 years ago. And I like photography. I got me a little camera. So I was driving around in my car, and I went to one of the neighboring towns from where I'm from, and I actually went to their courthouse, and they literally have Confederate generals on each corner.
Yeah, they're on. They're in front of all the courthouses in the South.
How terrifying must it be as a black man or black woman to think that there's a chance that you may have justice of any kind in this country?
Oh no, that's what they put it there for.
Yeah, exactly.
To intimidate you. The whole thing is about intimidation.
It's a reason for all of this. So, once again, I'm happy to see all these monuments start to fall. I don't care who doesn't like it, or but it's time. It's past time actually. But
do y'all feel like the same narrative is on the other end?
No, because they are taught to be proud of their participation in Confederacy. I mean, they feel that that's a part of their heritage. The people that were responsible for the majority of these statues are the Daughters of the Confederacy, a group of women whose husbands, fathers, grandfathers fought in the Civil War on the side of the Confederacy, and they sponsored these statues to be put up. Now, this is like years after the Civil War, years. So the women.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as the narrative, like, from what you explaining, these people are heroes to them.
Yeah.
John Lewis is a hero to us.
Mm-hmm. And they have their turn, and now it's our turn.
So that's what I'm saying. Is it about the term, or what is? Are we really trying to get equality? What is our overall goal with this?
I think that we need to honor the people that fought for our rights to be human and to be free and to vote and all that, the way they celebrate people that tried to stop us from being able to do all that. I mean, their pride is based on, if your pride is based on my oppression, then no, I don't want to see it. I don't think that you should celebrate the fact that your ancestors enslaved mine. I don't think you should be proud of that. If there's something inside your heart and in your mind and your heritage that makes you proud to have owned people, proud to have treated them as property, proud to have free labor and not ever have to, work for anything, like that shouldn't be displayed in a public setting. Do that at your house. Do that, have your little private, this is a public place. This is where everyone is supposed to get justice. And it's just really, America, we just pretend like the success of this country is based on my people not speaking out.
Is it one nation under God or not?
Right. The success of this country is based on me not being, or my ancestors not having to be angry or try to get some kind of retribution for having been enslaved. That is the only thing that's keeping this country afloat, because if we did, it would be mass hysteria all the time, and we didn't. And instead of wow, we need to honor these people because they did all that and they're still here voting and working and keeping this country going, and they haven't tried to spaz out. Mm-hmm. And then you're spazzing out? What are you mad about? What happened to you? Because we want to be equal, that upsets you? What do you, I don't get any of it.
I mean, I understand that, but technically we're not looking for equality. We're looking for
looking for representation, maybe?
But we're looking for more of our agenda to be placed, because it's if we're looking for equality, it's bam, if you support this religion and I support this religion, we can still coexist. Our views might be different, and I understand where you're coming from with the background on what these people are and what they mean. And like you said, I feel like if that's the case, do that shit in your house. And on our side, we celebrate our people. We don't need,
But there are
I
some.
think that's apples versus oranges. Though,
that there's some spaces that we share.
Yeah. And too, and I say that too, and not to cut you out, but even to the point, like, if if white business owners went around saying, "Oh, this is a white-owned business, I'm only hiring white people," we'd be up in arms. We have a fit about that.
They do that already.
But they don't blatantly say it. They do it, but they don't blatantly come out and say, "Oh, I'm only shopping with black business. I'm only shopping with white businesses." But it's like we egg them on. Even when I say with comedy, the shit our comedians be saying about white people. If a white comedian said half of the shit that we saying, like, it's a problem.
They do, but they ain't got to be in the comedy room to say it. We got to be in the comedy room to joke about that. They talk about this stuff every day.
Let's listen to what they talk about. You want to hear this conversation that I heard? Let's listen to this. This is what they say. This is what they say when they're alone, when we're not around. This is what they say.
Key word. What you just say?
When they're alone.
When they're alone and
this
we're not around.
This is what they say. This is what the things they say. Listen.
All those things and they don't have the work. That's it. Chief Gina.
So this is a police chief and a police officer in West Georgia, and they're having a conversation, and they didn't know that their body cams were on. They thought their body cams didn't work because they're half a million years old, and they probably don't know how to use technology. So they got busted when they tried to take their body camera to somebody to fix it. And then this is what was on the body camera. And what they said, if you can't understand, I'm not gonna be messy. If you can't understand West Georgia dialect, what they said was, hey, they work. I don't think slavery was that bad. Like, they had a place to stay, they got clothes, and they got food and shelter, and all they had to do was work. And now they don't even want to work. Where the fuck did that come from? You brought me here to work for you because you didn't want to do shit.
You know where that comes from? That comes from that's normal to them. And that's why I say they're never going to understand where we're coming from, because that is normal. That's just like...
Which goes back to me saying what I just said. Like, it's normal for them. They ain't got to be in the comedy room. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Richard Pryor says a little truth in all jokes. That's the truth. Like, we have to get certain things out in certain ways so it's not as offensive. Why do you even think Dave Chappelle is still around? Only because he's a comedian. If Dave Chappelle was an activist or you know what I'm saying, any other form of star, he'd be out of here. And they tried to get rid of him already. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's apples and oranges.
But I'm trying to understand.
But Dave Chappelle is still around because of what?
Perseverance, being a tough ass.
Who was his crowd though? Who was the support of who? Black people.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think and I always say this, I feel like we too caught up in trying to be accepted by them. If we just go in our own lane and stop worrying about what they're doing, I understand the significance when it comes to politics and all that, but me personally, like, yes, we're not the majority in that field. Like, we got to go where we the majority. I
can't ride with that either, though, because, like, once again, anytime black people have been left alone, we done been good, and they still come bomb our cities. They still come tear up Black Wall Street. Like, once again, we not only want representation, you know what I'm saying, but we want to be, like, if you're going to leave us alone, leave us alone. But, like, don't act like you want one thing when it's really another. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing black people want.
So if I was a Martian, and somebody dropped me down here,
we're going to the next planet.
If somebody dropped me from Mars and I was just observing and I saw, slavery to now, and then I heard the narrative that was being said, I would be like, but didn't y'all go get them to work for you? How are they lazy? I mean, I would be like, I saw what you did. I saw you go to Africa. I saw the boats. And they came here because, like, you didn't want to do it. You didn't have enough time, power, energy. I don't know what your problem was, but they're doing it for you. So how did they, sir, Mr. Sheriff, How are they the ones that are lazy looking for handouts?
If I was an alien, I wouldn't even bother with it. I cruise by Earth.
But I
and be
understand
like,
what you're
child,
saying.
So as they say.
But the reason why it's accepted and it's okay for people, like, if you're being bullied, you have the right to speak up about the bully. You think that the bully should be the one to be talking about you?
But like I always say, you can speak up, but is that gonna stop the bully? What's gonna stop the bully?
Punch them in the mouth, doing what them cats just did to Wall Street.
Yeah.
That's the only
financial. So you think that the statue was just,
I think
it's no big deal. You don't; those statues don't bother you. Is it, you like they're not?
Nah, they really don't bother me. But I think my thing is, I think we need more than represent. Like that's what they doing. Like even with Juneteenth. With Juneteenth, all that don't mean nothing to them. They like if this gonna shut them up, let's just shut them up for the time being. And that's all that's doing.
It's
like,
performative.
I love that our history is being displayed. I'm not saying that I don't think our history should be displayed. Like,
I don't care.
I'm not about to be hooting and hollering like because they put Black Lives Matter on the street. Like, what is that doing for Black lives?
We don't want none
what
of
is
that.
a John Lewis statue doing for a black? I mean, it can help. I ain't gonna say it doesn't mean anything. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
That's not what we need first.
That's not it. That's not a
we need
priority.
action. Like, okay, if you're gonna take that down, I'd rather them take that down and bam, they enact a new law or whatever. You feel me? Or retract the law that these people put in place.
Right.
Instead of I'm gonna take it down and and then as soon as we gave you the statue, like what?
And I see a lot of that now.
They try to. I always tell people, white people are very appeasing. They're not trying to satisfy you. They just trying to appease you.
So they can continue their mission.
So they can do what they're doing.
They're playing the game.
Think about when George Floyd got shot. That was the first time I had ever seen corporations.
Yeah, me too.
What are they in now?
And then even everybody, they were like, and then when it was time for us to vote,
at work, people asked
they didn't care about your vote.
Okay?
Right. Do you want to join this group and talk about this? Right. Is there something that we need to do different?
About 2 weeks.
Are we okay? And then when it was time for us to vote, are those votes legal?
Because it was, listen, again, as much as we talk, like it was affecting their money. It was. I'll bring up the example. The biggest example to me is with the Washington football team. They went years and years complaining about complaining about that name.
Blatantly.
FedEx is the sponsor for that stadium. When the George Floyd thing happened, FedEx said if they don't change the name, they're pulling out. Instantly, within a month, that name was changed because the money was involved. And it's like, man,
they didn't want to get boycotted.
It's not even about chasing money or nothing like that, but this is the game you have to play in America. America, this is the game. Like, you can try to do everything else, or try to, I want to be a good person and be a whatever. But the rules in this country is to make money. Like, you have to play by that rule.
You got to do whatever you need to do, whatever gets the money.
Like for your agenda to get pushed or for your agenda to be heard.
That's real.
I don't know. I think you're right in a way because, like, the people, my friends that are white, and a lot of people I know that are white and just around that don't necessarily have that hatred in their heart, they don't get it.
And that's
they don't understand.
Like, and that's why I tell people that's part of what white privilege is. It's literally being afforded.
There are the ones that are rooted in that narrative that want to push the Confederacy and the the intimidation and and then there are the ones that are just like somebody that in New Jersey, like where I grew up. They don't know what the Confederate like we don't.
They're not into that. Like, I think that's a small group. It's like they either.
Don't get me wrong. There's racism everywhere, and there's some people up there. I'm sure. But I can honestly say, like, when I was growing up, that it wasn't. I can see how you would say,
and I'm saying, I feel like,
and I can see how a lot of young people could feel like him.
And I feel like the white people. Like,
I can see how a lot of older people feel like you though.
But I feel like the white people that supporting though, I feel like they they supporting or they marching with us because they feel like it's wrong, but they don't fully comprehend
right.
or understand.
They are
what
just
the fuck
basing it
like,
on right and wrong, and they honestly don't have any history behind it. They just are looking at what's right and what's wrong, and they aired on the side of right. Yeah. And they're marching, and they're like, this was wrong, and I'm not going to stand for it. We can't live in a world like this. There's those people. Mm-hmm. So you're saying you think older people think like that? Yeah. Older than me or me?
You and Ford.
Me and up.
Yeah.
I don't know though, because the older, you mean the older white people or black people? Because I don't know, because they kind of.
I always said that's one thing I appreciated about growing up in Mississippi. It wasn't no question. You knew what it was. Like, it wasn't no, we not going to give you a job on the low. Like, you already knew, like, I'm not even going to take my black ass in there because I know these people are who they are. Jersey, different story. You know what I'm saying? They'll smile in your face. They'll be buddy with you. They'll make you think you cool. And then a lot of y'all be looking dumb when y'all figure out what stuff really is. And so from the perspective of being older people are so used to things being a certain way that that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like the new wave of people that the kids and younger people that you are seeing, that's why things are so volatile, because it's literally a war of perception. Like, you ever had an older person tell you something and you know it wasn't right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We would talk to keep your
respect your elders regardless. Just do it.
This new crop of kids, that ain't right. I'm gonna tell you why it ain't right, and if you don't like it, I'm sorry. You can go fly.
And they're the ones that are gonna change everything.
And I think because we exposed to so much, like, and again to like the older people, not like they been stuck in their ways, and it's like, man, we didn't see, like, in my lifetime, I didn't seen like the telephone change over the year, the internet come, playing outside, to playing video game. Like, I've seen the world change right in front of my eyes. I've seen to where I can talk to somebody and look at them on a video call. Like, it's crazy. Like, so it's just like, man, I can't just be boxed in.
Because you know what? Another thing that breaks racial tension, excellence. If you're good at what you do, and that's why a lot of celebrities are like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. No, I ain't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking good at what I do, and nobody gives a fuck if I'm black, white, purple, orange, green. They just fuck with me.
And that's capitalism.
That's capitalism.
Everybody your friend when you got
that's
money.
Capitalists don't see, and that's why I'm wondering why y'all always looking for a celebrity to be in front of your movement. Mm-hmm. They don't care. Yeah. Like, if and that, whatever you want to think that's good or bad, but excellence. Oprah Winfrey, she's good at what she does. You think athletes, they're good at what they do. Yeah. So everybody
elite in some kind of way. Like, they not just out here thinking that the world gonna give them anything being average.
Right. So don't always, your vibe is your tribe, right? Like, people are gonna think different. Be open to listen to them, because their experience about what's going on is different. I listen to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I can see things from different perspectives, but I'm still have my perspective because that's the life I lived. Yeah. And so the people that are going through what I'm going through, I'm speaking for them.
And I think that's important too, what you just said. Like, I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and we was talking, and matter of fact, with my uncle, and he was saying some other stuff. I'm like, bro, that's like,
that's not my struggle.
Yeah, that's a different experience.
Right. Like I'm not going through that. That's not.
Like, you can't put your experience on me. Like, and I think that's what we got to understand. Like, none of us, even though we all in the same room and probably have similar mindsets, our experiences are different, so we respond to things differently, we relate to things differently, and we handle things differently. Like, so.
Right, because my parents, my father particularly, he came from Washington, Georgia, Wilkes County, and Eatonton, out that way.
I said that's out there.
Yeah. It's in the nowhere. It's in the nowhere. And my father came to New Jersey. He was trying to raise me in New Jersey with that Jim Crow South attitude. Like, where you going? To my friend's house? Like, I don't know if you should be going back, bruh. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? And that's what you mean. Like, I get what you mean, like, about parenting. Like, a lot of people, your parents hold you back because they're giving you their, like, I hear you, Dad. I know I should be careful because you don't know if my friends were all white.
Listen, I have a mentee right now. His mom thought he was selling drugs because he kept coming home with money. And this is an awesome young man. Like
really
terrified.
But did did her father sell drugs and stuff? Where'd she get that from?
No. Like this he the kid he's a middleman for sure. He literally they have these apps where you can, I guess, I don't really know that much about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a shoe buff, but he's basically a middleman for shoes. If you need a pair of shoes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of kids make money like that.
He was doing it at school. So all the
wow.
kids knew he was like a shoe plug.
Wow.
So, like, had built him
shout out to the young entrepreneur out here.
Business, you know what I'm saying? So I literally had to sit his parents are older, you know what I'm saying? I literally had to sit them down and be like, look, your son is not doing anything wrong. This is what he's doing. This is how he is doing it. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And like and I was like, this is something y'all should invest in instead of, you know, trying to shoot him away or trying to make him think, you know, bringing money home is bad. It's kind of like
nurture that.
And I see so many times where parents who are not up to time or don't really know what's going on hinder their kids by simply being afraid to maybe learn a little bit too, or actually sit down with them and be like, yo, what's good? What's going on?
Yeah, nurture that, because you know your parents are living through their experience. Even my daughter, I mean, she don't listen to me, and I don't, you know, I had to look at it like, okay, maybe she should, and she has to live for her own life.
I mean, people, I know me, I'm a person, like, I've had great people in my life. I got a great foundation. Like, I got a great foundation as far as like the men in my life, uncle, stepdad, dad, granddad. Like, I got men in my life that, but at the same time, like, I still had to make my own mistakes. I'm a man, like, I'm gonna have to hit my own head, like, just like with the stove. You know, they tell you not to touch the hot stove, and then bam, you still touch it. It's just that example. Like, you have to go through your own mistakes to actually. Back to what I was saying about, I think I said it last week, about these white people. They don't understand the black struggle because they didn't experience. They're never gonna have to face that face to face. They're never gonna have to face the
right. And you mean,
I definitely feel you on that, because I always tell people, one of my quotes I always tell people when I see older people and younger people disconnecting, I always say, as an older person, I hope I never forget that I was young once. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the way I see older people talk to young people, it's like, dang, man, like, I know you're 62 now, but you done been 17 before. So I expect you to have a little bit more vision when you're talking to these young people, instead of just making them think everything they do is bad. Yeah, correct them, but like, once again, remember you've been young once. Right. And young people, like, you gotta hope that you get as old as some of these people that's talking to you. My grandfather always tells me, yo, just keep living.
Right.
You know, keep living.
All right.
I understand what he said.
I'm glad you said that, because now we gonna talk. Now, we used to have a segment called Cocoa with Kymmy, and we used to just talk about, we used to talk about politics and like real life shit, because that's the type of show we are. But, sometimes some foolishness creeps into the atmosphere. You got to address it, right?
Right.
So, not really foolishness, but, stuff that's not as important. So, I don't know what we're going to name it, because, it's guys and me, too. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be Cocoa with Kymmy, but it's like tea time, basically. So, we just want to talk about a couple of things. One of the things I wanted to address was last night the Wendy Williams show came on, right? And last week, Salt and Pepper's movie came on. And these women executive produced their own movie. Shout out to them. It really spoke a lot about the women and their roles in hip-hop culture.
Shout out to the ladies.
Shout out to the ladies for doing your thing. A lot of these movies, Michelle Lay has a movie on Lifetime, too. It should be on, like, around now or whatever. Lifetime, look it up, Google it. It's always on. They win the same shit all the time. But we need to address a couple of things, because another thing, too, in this, Wendy Williams, people give her a lot of slack, but Wendy Williams she did it on her own. I want to give a shout out right now to all the women that have to work their way up the corporate ladder in corporate America, not necessarily like the street or whatever, music industry or industry chicks or whatever. We big them up all the time. I'm talking about people that have to go to meetings, be on time, get things done, write this paper, just that. Shout out to them. Wendy Williams brought up herself. She made herself be the person that she is on her own. And we don't big up women enough for that. So shout out to her for that. There's another thing that came up in all these movies. There was a running theme, and the men, they were like mad trash. trash. The dudes were trash. From Herbie Lovebug to Tretch to Eric B to like, what the fuck? I don't understand when a woman now. I don't understand when a woman is really in the prime of her life and she's trying to get up to be where she's at. Women feel like they have to interject a man, and like it's like Cinderella. Like we were taught, part of your success means you have to have a man, and you see what that did to them, right?
I think it's more so that I think y'all were taught the right way, and we just didn't comprehend it, because I think both of us, a man and woman working together, is the key to success. It's just that.
Yeah, it is. I don't know where y'all didn't watch Cinderella. Like, what happened?
Y'all better stop, man.
That's it, Kim.
Y'all know. Somebody might watch this show and say that ain't how things work. So these days.
But that's the experience.
Now it was on Dom on your page one day. We were talking and you guys were talking, and I don't remember what the thing was. Maybe you do, but I was like, y'all give the advice to your kids. You do. Whatever I said, you wouldn't tell your kids to do this. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Bad advice, basically. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't tell your kids this, so why you telling somebody?
Right? Like, why are you telling somebody to do that?
Yeah, you always say that. Yeah.
We big up women all the time for doing how they do. People give Wendy Williams a hard time because she used gossip as her platform. But everybody on social media now, what they doing gossiping.
Somebody got to do it.
Everybody talks shit about her, but guess what? Now y'all sitting in front of DJ Vlad telling him all your business. Like, what? I think that, and we could talk about this further. We could research it. We could bring up examples. But I really think people have a problem with successful black women. They have like Kamala Harris. The narrative around her was horrible in the beginning. I never see black men really big up any woman that's getting her money and having her success without taking her clothes off. You will get a woman that sells pussy, more credit than a woman that's like
the vice president of the United States.
What the fuck?
You don't feel like Michelle Obama was properly celebrated?
She was the first woman. She was celebrated because she was a wife of the president.
Oh, you saying
on their own.
You saying men in general. Oh, you saying black women in general?
I'm just saying black women that are successful on their own, not for being a wife.
They don't get praised by the masses, or you saying black?
I say the masses, but the only reason it hurts me is because black men don't do it. I really don't care about the masses. I care about black men, black women as a whole. I think black men should show more support for independent black women.
So my question, and it's just to help out black men. What do you feel black men can do better as far as like what can they do more to support black women? When
I see some of the male bloggers, which is ironic in itself, but that's another story. When I see some of the male bloggers and I go to their page and they talk about and they support, because it's all about support. It's like, your posts are like votes, right? If you post something, you're
right.
So I see you got no name rapper that got one song, but she got a fat ass. I don't know who she is, but she got a fat ass. I see, she's an Instagram model and she's got a fat ass. That's all I see. You don't ever see anybody like, yo, sis, she's the first CEO. Like, do you know how hard these women have to work to get, like, it's easy. I could pull my pants down and I could do every podcast with my titties poking out. That's easy. That's easy. And I will get mad views. More people will tune into this show if I was sitting here with a bra top on instead of a hoodie. I know they would. But that's just not who I am. Yeah. But if I was that girl, I would definitely. But y'all would not tell your daughters to be that chick. So why are you like the men that I see that do that that have daughters? I'm like
Rick Ross, the Rick Ross scene.
Oh my God, that's a perfect example. That is a perfect example. Yeah. Rick Ross, you know that girl couldn't rap, sing, or nothing, but she had a fat ass.
The boss.
Now, would you want your daughter? And this is all I'm saying, because you would never tell your daughter to do any of the things that the women are doing, and your daughters are watching you. You are her first example. You are her first example.
You don't know, because some people be cool with their daughters doing certain stuff.
See, that's not the school I'm from. Maybe that's why I don't know.
Hey, I'm just saying because
so you're right though.
But I'm saying it because it's so many women that's doing it.
Yeah.
So it has to and I know some women that some of these women have fathers in their lives, and it's like, bam, if the girl's raised right, they always say the preacher daughter is the one that's always the worst.
That's another thing I hate. Women always get benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They do,
yeah.
because I definitely know plenty of women that had very good structured households and grew up and decided to do what the hell they want.
Because
And
that's
say
the
what-
thing.
Say,
That's cool,
say,
but-
say if she raised right, she get older, she want to be a stripper. Her dad disagreed with that. Oh, this man's trying to control this woman's life. Like it's like what do you do?
And I will say, you know, I one thing about me, I love black women. Like, I was raised by them. That's all I've ever been around. Like, I love black women. But I also, as a black man, it be times where, like, I don't even be knowing what to say because, like, sometimes let's say R. Kelly. Let's just randomly. Like, I've seen a group of black women, one supporting and one, you know what I'm saying, on the opposing side of the R. Kelly conversation. As a black man, I'm like then if y'all arguing, I'm just sit over here and shut up, because I feel like if I do say something, they gonna be like, you know, this ain't your space, no way, and blah blah. So like a lot of times, like we've been so shocked into staying out of y'all business or minding our own business.
Yeah, we don't even know when to jump in.
It's kind of like, bro, like it's like hopscotch. You don't know when to jump in.
Yeah, because it's like nowadays, and as bad as it sound, like I be seeing guys and like guys that I know and that I've come across, and it's like it come like when it, especially we gonna take he brought up R. Kelly, so a person like R. Kelly, oh fuck this nigga, fuck. Every time something happen to a woman, without even the fact, oh fuck this dude, and it's just like, man, now it's coming across as these dudes are pandering. Like it's like, man, I don't know, it's just. It don't.
It's not genuine.
It don't come up, but it could be. It could be, but
Look,
it's just like
I don't knock.
everybody that you saying fuck is a dude, is a man. It ain't no women that ain't doing nothing wrong, and I just don't like that narrative.
I'm not saying that because the next thing I want to talk about too is sex trafficking, and that's another thing I want to bring up. The women are not completely innocent in this at all, and I'm talking about. If you see a woman and you know a woman, everybody talk about protect black women. If you know a woman like that, just encourage her. Shout her out. Post her sometime. Put a picture of her on your page. Like, yo, my homegirl just graduated from college. You don't never see that. You don't never see that. You see every bounce challenge. If she's doing this, everybody is posting her. Everybody is talking about her.
But come on now. Like when we talk about these challenges, like
we control the hashtags too.
Who are putting those challenges out?
And that's another thing. That's another thing. If you want, ladies. If you want that to be your story, the internet is forever. The internet is forever. The internet is forever, and somebody is gonna pull some of this stuff up that you might not agree and that you're doing. You might want to chill out and fall back. I'm gonna use another example. What's going on with Clifford and Tamika in Atlanta? What happened with them is tragic. Now everybody is getting more and more deep, and we already, as far as with my who am I don't know. I don't believe it. But the fact that the people can even start to have this narrative because you let too many people in your bedroom, in your life, in your business. And you wouldn't even have this problem if you kept it. All this wild shit that's going on in the middle of a pandemic. Like, it's just like, it's crazy to me that in the middle of a pandemic, more people aren't like, yo, we need to chill. Like, we need to fall back. Like, maybe we need to, pay more attention to the other things that are important in the world. Like, we got deeper into some bullshit. We got, like everybody's life.
Is this going to be around? We're going to be talking about this in 2 weeks.
What?
This.
I think so.
I don't. Because you know why?
I don't think so either because it's
because
so.
I remember, I don't know if you remember, but it was 1 week. We was talking about, it was the R. Kelly movie when that came out. And I think it got to like probably like 2 months later, and we wasn't talking about it for sure. And it was like, damn, that
nobody cared.
Year.
But the thing too, that the reason why I brought that up is because now they've gotten accused of some other shit, and I think we need to be more attention and be more wise because it all ties down to like sex trafficking, right? And just sex trafficking, and I was gonna look up the whole just definition. Because I don't think people realize how close they come. How close they come to sex trafficking is human trafficking for the purpose of sexual exploitation. That doesn't mean intercourse.
Right. It
could be exploitation, sexual slavery. It could be anything that makes money using sex. And a victim is coerced in one of the variety of ways into a situation of dependency on their trafficker and then used by the trafficker to perform sexual services to customers. Sex trafficking crimes can involve acquisition, transportation. I don't think people realize that by the pure definition of sex trafficking, some people are sex trafficking. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Sure. When we go to these strip clubs, and we were talking about this the other day, when you go to these strip clubs or whatever, you know, we hope that the people that own the strip club did their due diligence and they know that everybody is of age. But if they weren't, how do you know that this girl is not 17 that's bouncing her ass in front of you? Mm-hmm. That you might say, I'm going to fly her out. If you fly her out, you just sex trafficked a minor, dude. Yep. Like, just people, we gotta, the culture is just really on some wild, weird shit right now, and I just don't like the direction that it's going in.
I think the culture has always been on some wild, weird stuff. We just let that wild, weird stuff slide.
Dominate.
Yeah, and it's to the point. That's going back to Wendy Williams, where you like the dudes who trash like hip hop culture. Like look,
very misogynistic.
Look at what's glorified.
I would go further than hip hop. I would say entertainment.
Entertainment, period. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. But I call places I call music like an entertainment silo. You know what I'm saying? And it's a reason why artists only dying in the rap game. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why, you know what I'm saying, there's sex trafficking in other genres also, but why is man, like, y'all know, like, with Trillmonger, like, we out here making videos. I done had offers of dudes to bring video girls, you know what I'm saying, and
you're
they
just
don't
like,
really be video girls, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it be stuff going on, and, like, when you realize, like, shit, like, okay, and it be normal. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, some of those bottle girls, mm-hmm. and some of the things that people are doing that they're putting a cover over is like escort, low key escort services. Some of the women that y'all are like, oh, yo, sis, are low key. Low key. Like, let's keep it real. Like, the reason why I'm saying that is, like you say, it's no fun when the rabbit has the gun. Because you empower these women or these people, period, and then when the tables turn, at any moment they could be like, "Yo, they raped me. Mm-hmm. I was sex trafficked."
Right. And you'd be surprised how often that happens. Like people think stuff can't happen to them.
Because the internet is a wild place, and some of these girls are not. Some of these girls are not of age.
What I think it is basically to what you just said to even open it, like sex trafficking is just flying somebody out. It's as little as, like, people don't really know, like, so it's like,
but you have to have been coerced, and that line is very thin because, you know, I get your text messages, nah, you want to come out here? Nah, I don't want to come. You know, da-da-da. Like, it's so, what I'm saying is be careful.
Flirting is a thin line between flirting and being coerced, whatever the word is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, you don't even, like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
don't set yourself up for that.
It's a lot of things, and not even like to give men that did that a pass. Like, we know this is going on. Like, this is a serious topic, but it's just like, you know, some people get themselves in trouble and not even try. This is just like, because, and then, you know, again, I said it before on here, some things work with certain women. Certain women like, you know, you talking to them aggressive. Other women can't take that. And it's just like, as a man, you just gotta, you know, you gotta understand that. You just gotta be very careful. You have to be very careful.
You have to be very careful. Everybody be careful. Be careful. Because there are some horrible situations with sex trafficking going on out here. Don't get me wrong, because there are some people that are just snatching people up off the street, putting guns to their head and making them be, but you don't want it to be misinterpreted if that's not what happened. So you got to be careful. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. And that's all I got to say. Check the movies out. I mean, I know it's Lifetime and men don't watch Lifetime because it's like a bitter woman journal show.
I don't watch Lifetime. I used to watch Lifetime growing up with my mom. And
it's not the same. I never watched it.
The thing about Lifetime I don't like is that it's the same movie.
Right. It's always some abusive situation.
It'd be some great movies, but it's the same. Like, every time I watch this, the man is the antagonist in every movie. In every movie.
Like watching Tyler Perry movies. Like,
exactly. That's why I don't watch Tyler Perry movies.
Yeah, some of the stories that I saw, they had a running thing, and the whole thing was the men were trash to them, and it was so sad to see. I'm like, damn.
And now that you saying that, and it was on Lifetime, now that movie loses credibility to me because it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
Hey, they let me write my own movie. Some of my ex-girlfriends might have, you know what I'm saying, some vivid character to them too.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure.
You know,
I'm sure.
Take it all. It's entertainment, but like I do plan to watch the Wendy Williams movie as well as.
Sis went through a lot, man. She went through a lot, and people are just like.
And that's why I'm interested because I don't really know her. Like I told you, we were talking before the podcast, and I was telling you like the Wendy Williams that I know because I'm a man.
Because people just think she's messy, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I know her as a messy. Probably 2008 forward. Like I don't know any of her.
Yeah, no, she really like a lot of hip hop that came out in the 90s. There wasn't really a show that would play them, and she played them. A lot of artists that we know today probably wouldn't have had as much airplay as they did if she didn't play it.
That's what's up.
Because at one time, hip hop only had 1 hour, and it was at night.
I believe it.
And then she had, she really opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people. She's very successful. I just wish that her ex-husband wasn't so trash. Whew.
I do want to say, speaking of protecting black women, it's just that, again, narratives of how things are pushed. Like, I don't know if y'all saw it, but the Seattle Seahawks football player, he beat the black chick. But the thing about it is, like, when Ray Rice did this, when a black athlete did this, like, it wasn't pushed. And it made me think, like, why isn't this being pushed? And it kind of led back to, I feel like it just shows how much black people control the media, the news, because a lot of the stuff be getting pushed and circulated because we're sharing it. Me personally, I follow a few white people. I don't see them sharing negative things about or sharing the story about or, we gonna cancel this person, which is giving them publicity. But
right
at the same time, I did want to highlight that because, again, to show that it goes on both sides. Like, these football players they're gladiators. Like, they're messed up in the head.
Yeah. It's funny because we had that same conversation. It was some interesting things said amongst black men and black women on my page. I seen black women saying, protect our women, and black men was like, yo, she chose that white guy, you know what I'm saying, and like different things like that. So it's just, it's so many different perspectives.
Black men really have a problem when they see a black woman with a white man. I noticed that.
But why though? But you got to be honest. Why though? You got to be honest. Why? Like,
why? We see y'all with white women all the time.
We're not weird, but the black men that are with white women are crucified for being with white women.
Are they really?
They are. You know that.
Is Kanye
because
crucified?
You crucified him.
Was Kanye crucified?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't never. I mean, it wasn't never like.
Again, as a black man, I looked at that relationship and I was like. Because you know how much I like black women, and I've always said if Kanye was still with who he is supposed to be with, the number one lady before the
first lady, he would have a different
he'd be just fine. But like once again, Kanye is gonna Kanye, and so he's paying the price. I mean,
why are you saying I crucify? I heard you.
No, I'm not saying I
don't care.
But you have said something about he got a white woman.
When?
I can't say when, but
like, I don't remember what you said.
I know exactly. I mean,
I am so not like that.
Yes, you are.
I only say that if there's a situation where I know for a fact that the reason why something happened is because of that.
Yeah. Well, I'll go on the record.
This could be the same thing though. Like,
it's kind of like with me. I always tell people
because
I have no problem whatsoever with people interracial dating.
No, I don't.
I know it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, because I've had a young Caucasian lady come to me in the grocery store, and I took pride in telling her I don't date outside my race.
What?
You know what
Wow! You have to tell us that story one day.
But people might say that's rude, but it's kind of like, once again, everybody got their preferences. My preference is black women. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. So where I don't get mad at people for their preferences. I have friends that I got a friend who grew up in California. Didn't know what a white girl looked like because that wasn't in his neighborhood. That wasn't who he went to school with. So naturally, like, that's who he was attracted to. And like going into the conversation with him, I was like, man, I don't see you dating number white girls. I didn't see his perspective. And
he doesn't have a lot to choose from in his circle.
I don't have anything against black women, but this is just who I grew up around.
Yeah, this is
what I like.
And
yeah.
Even that. So that's the kind of stuff I try to take into account. Being from Mississippi, and
my brothers never dated. My oldest brothers, they newer dated black women. Mm-hmm. But we grew up in a white neighborhood. So I didn't know the difference. I mean, I just was like.
So would say if what's her name? What's Martin Luther King's wife's name?
Bernice King.
Coretta.
Coretta. Yeah, Coretta.
His wife?
Is the daughter.
Bernice's daughter.
Yeah, that's the daughter. So if Coretta was a white woman, Martin Luther King being who he is, will he lose his credibility?
Yes.
Why?
It's sad,
yes.
But he loses his credibility with us.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so does
and we need him.
Right. Does Kamala lose her credibility?
And a lot
but
of people
she's
talk
not.
about that,
she's
though.
not.
You know what I'm saying?
She's black. She's a black woman.
Married to
in a top position.
But she's biracial. Like her grandmother is white. I think.
And that's another thing that I don't think a lot of people take into account.
Yeah, she's biracial. She's multiracial because
black people are the most accepting people of anybody on this earth. If you got a little piece of black in you, Tiger Woods, hey, come over here. You know what I'm saying? You good. Like, you always got to.
But you don't even know if they identify with that part of themselves or if they, But Kamala, she had.
But we know she HBCU.
But she had the choice, which makes it even more. Like, I don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. You don't have a
you're
choice.
going to look at me and say, oh, she's black. And I'm going to go and gravitate toward black culture. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be as easily accepted into another culture. That's just how it is for black people. Kamala is biracial. There are some light-skinned women that aren't biracial, but they look like they're biracial, and they can be biracial. They can say they can act biracial. I know some black people that are light-skinned, and people be like, "Oh, are you Dominican?" Like, yeah, like some people do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have that choice.
So why would Martin Luther King lose his credibility in that situation?
Because only because of what he did and what he stood for.
He's still a black man, though. He's a black man.
But,
still.
yeah.
And if we want to go to the general story, he stood for, equality or bringing black and white people together.
Ain't no better way to show unity than, you know what I'm saying? Let me stop. Try to get us in trouble, Jay Black. Good point, though. Good point.
You're right.
But
I don't know.
People, once again, perception is everything.
I mean, I think that's the next step.
Yeah.
And I think once people get past, and as black people, we need to heal. We need to get past. I think that will be the next step. I think once we get to the point, who knows if we ever will, but I think we will. Whenever we get past all of this and we get to the point where we have an understanding and a general, a good narrative, a good conversation with each other as far as racial relations goes in this country, more people will be able to see and accept that. Yeah. But as long as we still see Marjorie Taylor Greene and these cops we overheard talking, that's still going to be a wound for some black people, and they're not going to be able to accept it. You have to understand too, being a biracial couple wasn't even legal until like the 60s.
Last year in some places.
Right. So you legally couldn't do it. So there's that. So there's, like we were saying, the narrative your parents push on you for years and years and years. You can't, like, you trying to go to jail? You messing with a white girl? Like, we had to get past all of that. So I don't blame people for feeling the way they feel. I just don't. When I see a black man that I know that there's so many black women that are so great, and I feel like because there are so many single black women, and I know that they would be willing to be submissive and be a good wife to a black man, and I see black men that pass them by and go, that's when I'm just like, bruh.
But now you projecting what you.
That's me though. That's what I'm
saying.
You can't But that's what everybody is doing.
Everybody has their own.
Like, that's not the black man you want anyway. Like, that's not your black man.
Right, because he doesn't like you.
So why?
Right.
It's a market for everybody out here, and I see so many people on both sides.
But that's just a personal thing. Like when I say that, I don't mean like every black guy I see. If I personally know a black, like if I know this person. And I know that he had a choice, and he didn't go that way. That's when I'm just like, bruh.
This kind of a different situation, but I akin that to dating in Atlanta. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's all these, theories about men versus women, the number of eligible black.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I know that goes on in Atlanta.
But it's one of those things to where like it's kind of like when I sit down and I think about my friends and I think about how many of them have found love, how many of them are married with kids and different stuff like that. It tells a different story, and I know once again I'm not the only person, so there's always different perspectives, but. When I look at my friends from, and I run the gamut, it's kind of like, I have some single, I have some together, but overall, I see black people loving black people.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying?
And back in the days, as a part of, because we understood more the sense of community, people will hook each other up. Like, I know a single person. Yeah. I hear older people talk about that all the time. Like, I hooked them up. I started that. Or that's me. Like, you are single. Your friends that are married, they are trying to find you a wife because they know that, you need to start and build your foundation. I don't see that happening anymore at all.
People don't let you hook them up no more. Like,
why?
Especially women, like, you know what I'm saying? Women, like, it's kind of like...
I got my man. I'm good.
No, it's even like women just have a different mentality. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how women... I can't tell how women go to the club with one another and dance with each other all night. And all of them will be single. All of them will, you know what I'm saying? But, like, it's kind of... And, like, if you want to do that, that's your thing. Go out and have a good time with your girl. But, on the other hand, I see these same women complain about, you know what I'm saying, men not approaching them or, like, men not doing certain things. It's kind of like, once again, you can't go to a basketball game and expect to see them throwing footballs on the court. Right. Stuff just don't work like that. So...
That's my fault, y'all, because I insist on having ventilation when I'm in the room with people, so I made J Black open the window. So that's why we hear all that stuff.
I feel you, man. Hey, we here. And we live out here in the city outside.
Right.
That's Atlanta outside.
That's ATL.
But yeah, it's kind of like I see so many women, like, and men, men do it too. Say you want something, and then you do everything except what it takes to get it. And it's kind of like... I
think people like the idea of stuff.
Yeah, but they
I've been in that situation before. Like, I like the idea of being with this girl. Yeah. But then it's
Me
like...
too.
When I got her, it's just like...
Me too. I'm just like... Yeah, I'm such a romantic. And so I'll be, like, deeply in love after the first time I talk to people. And so I do that all the time. So if you ever catch me doing that... Just feel you can snatch me back to reality because I have to get snatched back to reality because I be like deeply in love. Like, oh my God, I love him.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
the idea. It's the romanticizing of being in a relationship. But then you're just like,
after 3 months, you will realize.
Oh no, it's this one guy I was dating and he was like everything. Like I said, in love. In love, okay? I was like, yes, sir. Like, come over. Like, we're going to hang out. That was, like, my favorite person in the world. One night,
she said, I
hope he never hears
past
this.
tense.
I hope he never hears this.
With Mark, I'm going to put this clip out.
Please don't do that.
This
do
the
not
Kim
do
corner.
that.
Kim dating story.
One day, he was like, you want to watch a movie? And I'm just like, yeah. Guess what movie it was?
What?
Pizzagate.
It was what?
Pizzagate.
Pizzagate.
Yes. Pizzagate is the movie that's like started the whole QAnon thing, where it talks about the pedophilia ring and the pizza parlor.
I
where
heard about it. I had never seen
there's
it.
a pizza parlor and they're hiding kids and the whole everybody's a pedophile and I was so destroyed. At first, I was like, is he serious? Like, oh my gosh. Oh no.
Did he know like...
I was like, boo.
Was he aware?
No.
Because
maybe
he was trying to impress you by trying to watch something political like that. Like,
and that's what turned me off. that right there. That's what turned me off. As quick as I'm turned on, I'm turned off.
Oh man.
As quick as I was in love, I was out of love. Like, I wanted him to leave my house immediately.
Oh, man.
I was so disgusted. Because he was like, yo, you want to watch this documentary? And that's my thing, documentaries.
You let him strike out on one swing?
Bruh.
Did you at least have a conversation with him and let him know?
I was like, dude, like.
Do you know what's going on with
Yes. I was like, dude, first of all, this is not a documentary. This is propaganda. I told him about the whole Pizzagate thing and how, Trump supporters put this.
It's hilarious.
I was like, still to this day, I'll be looking at him like,
Golly, you left my man on read over.
Man, listen, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, everybody that had anything to do with QA9 or anything I saw that you spread on Facebook about, I unfriended them. I can't do it.
You can't do it, man.
I can't do it. Like, you are nothing you say to me. So that means you think.
Wait a minute, you
He who? What are we gonna do? Get married? Like, no, I can't be a nigga. Nah, it's more than that.
But I'm saying, did y'all have a conversation about it?
I told him about it.
And, like, you told him. Did you have a conversation?
We had a conversation.
And what was his reasoning behind everything? You ain't want to hear it though.
I listened to him. No, he told me. He said, "How do you know that this is fake and what you're saying ain't fake?" And I was like, "It's done. Like, you can't. I'm not here to convince you."
Okay.
It's kind of like aliens. It's weird. Like, you know how the aliens started getting people and then they started turning into aliens? To me, that's how the QAnon people are.
Like my boy Steve said, you got to know your personnel. Was he one of these people that had these conversations on the regular?
No.
So you knew, like, you
but that's what I
when
see.
He said when he went to this, when this was his go-to movie and he was unaware, you should have just been like, baby, you unaware.
I did.
Let me just, you know.
And I tried to tell him.
I'm gonna give you a pass, and I'm gonna make you. I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna
to the light.
Yeah,
you know
that's what a black woman's supposed to do. Like,
I did that.
That's what a black woman's supposed to do.
I did that. I'm telling you my innermost feelings. I talked to him about it. I told him, this is fake, and I told him about the whole thing. And I said, listen, I've been around. Like, I see what's going on. I'm telling you. But if you know me, you know that. Why am I even having to tell you that? You know what I'm saying?
So how
it just spoke a lot to me
after that conversation.
I don't know. Maybe because then he turned into like an anti-masker. Like, then, you know what I'm saying?
It all made sense. I guess you was able to pick up
because then he was like, "Oh, so you want to do something?" He was like, "I don't have to wear my mask, do I?" Like, I'm fucking. And you know what I mean? Like,
but was that a joke?
And that's
not funny though.
That's totally on the opposite spectrum of her. You know how she feel about these masks, bro.
Yeah,
like,
but that could have been a joke because that's something I say to Kim. Like, do I gotta spray the whole room down? Do I gotta spray myself with Lysol? Like,
bruh.
That's hilarious.
Bruh.
But yeah.
I still to this day sometimes I be on with my homegirl and I'll just reflect like, yo, I can't believe he really was like, let's watch Pizzagate. Oh my God.
So you can't have it all, Kim.
Did he ask you what you wanted to watch first?
We were listening to music. We were vibing out, and he was just like, "Yo, you want to watch this movie? Yo, you got to see this." It's like he was gonna bring some enlightenment. Yeah, he knew what he was showing me.
I was trying to get my man out.
No, he knew what he was showing me because he's like, "Yo, you got to see this," and that's how all the QAnon people approach you. Like, they be inboxing you shit. Like, and the title is like, "Yo, my cousin works at NASA and my uncle works at the Pentagon, and he told me that he saw this." I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Yeah, so that's my little dating experience in a nutshell. So if y'all know anybody that's not a QAnon supporter and he's like, maybe, and he got his life together, tell him to holler at me, because I'm done. I give up. I'm done.
What do you search?
For men? I don't search for men.
I mean, not search, but like we was talking about people setting people up.
Got to put yourself in the game. How you put yourself
in the game? I'm out here. What can I do? I'm out here.
I mean, are you really though?
Oh, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm talking about because of the pandemic.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
Where you find? Where can how? I guess the scope of dating. What is date? How do you date nowadays? Like, as far as
you do it on the phone, like everybody else.
Apps.
You call me on the phone. We talk on video.
I'm sorry. How do they get? They gotta find you first.
Hi, I'm here. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook.
Give them tags. You gotta give them all of you.
Chocolate GRL Wonder. And I think y'all know that already because y'all be sending me some crazy stuff.
And her silhouette challenge is coming, fellas.
Oh, I want to do that, but I don't have TikTok. I was practicing and everything. I gotta get TikTok to do that, right?
They didn't found the.
Oh, to take the filter off.
I don't think you'll be doing it naked, but I don't know. But
they turned the filter off. The guy.
That dudes, some dude that found the way an app to where.
You know how creepy that is. Like
why you,
bruh? There are some creeps out here. There are some creeps out here, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all, there are some creeps out here. Some of your homeboys might be creeps, and I know you guys don't have that. You don't have that discernment. You're not supposed to. I'm not blaming you. But that's why I always say, listen to women, because some of your homeboys might be creeps. Some of your homeboys are creeps. I guarantee it. You don't even know it. Some of these dudes are creeps, bruh. Like real predators.
I believe it.
You got to watch your homeboys and check them. Listen to these women, because they'll tell you, I'm telling you, somebody you know might be a creep. Be careful. Don't be hanging out with these creeps. All right, y'all. We need to wrap it up because I'll be here forever. So make sure you check out our episodes, previous episodes, upcoming episodes. Next week, we're going to talk to a health professional. So tune in because we need to get everybody on the same page so we could get COVID under control. Notice I didn't say get rid of it because we're going to be dealing with it for a while. And I don't know if the world has changed forever or we're going to be able to, get it under control. But we'll talk about that next week. Make sure you follow us. Dom, you want to give them your handle to follow you?
You can follow me on IG, which is where I am most of the time, at TL Activist. Once again, TL Activist.
And make sure you follow us on CTD_ATL on Instagram. And be nice, because, some people are real aggressive in my inbox. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, let's just have open dialogue, people. All right, y'all.
Shout out, before we get out of here, shout out to Soul Mississippi Candles.
Yes.
On the table.
Shout out to Soul Mississippi Candles.
It is soulmississippi.com.
It's on his shirt.
Yeah, it is SEAUXMS.com. Make sure to go check it out. We will be putting some new scents up on the site
good. We didn't even light our candle this week.
Make sure y'all check it out.
We didn't light our candle this week, but
you was the flame
something left for next week too.
Huh?
You was the flame this week.
Oh.
Ooh, parquet, brother, baby.
I hope he never hears that. I still like you though. You cool.
Oh man.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See y'all later.